In 2020 and 2021, the United States Food and Drug Administration documented the deaths of more than 70 dogs from aflatoxin contamination in a single pet food brand. The dogs died from liver failure. The brand continued to ship product for several months after the contamination was identified. The recall, when it finally came, covered multiple sub-brands and millions of pounds of feed. This is not a hypothetical scenario. It is recent FDA-documented history. The mass-market dog food industry operates under federal oversight from the FDA and AAFCO. Most brands run clean, some do not. A small number have documented histories of contamination, recalls, regulatory action or settled litigation involving the safety of their product. 5 brands occupy that category. 3 brands operate on the opposite end, with clean recall records, traceable ingredient sourcing, and manufacturing standards that exceed pet food industry minimums. By the end of this, you will know which 5 to never feed your dog, and you will know which 3 are actually safe. Avoid 1. Sport Mix, Midwestern Pet Foods. In December 2020, the FDA began documenting a series of dog deaths linked to aflatoxin contamination, a toxin produced by mold in corn-based pet food. The investigation traced the contamination to Midwestern Pet Foods, the manufacturer of Sport Mix, Pro-Pak, Splash, Sports Trail, and None Better brands. By the time the recall completed in early 2021, the FDA had documented more than 70 dog deaths and dozens of additional illness cases. Aflatoxin levels in tested samples reached 558 parts per billion, more than 25 times the FDA's actionable threshold. The recall covered multiple brands, multiple production runs, and millions of pounds of pet food. Midwestern Pet Foods continues to operate. The brands continue to sell. The 2020 to 2021 contamination event is one of the most severe documented mass mortality recalls in recent American pet food history. Avoid 2. Hill's Science Diet canned formulations. In January 2019, Hill's Pet Nutrition issued a major recall of canned dog food formulations after the FDA documented vitamin D toxicity in multiple Hill's Science Diet and Hill's Prescription Diet products. The recall covered 33 different SKUs across the Hill's brand portfolio. Vitamin D toxicity in dogs causes kidney failure, vomiting, weight loss, and, in documented cases, death. The 2019 Hill's recall resulted in confirmed illness in multiple dogs and litigation that the company settled. Hill's Science Diet is one of the most veterinary-recommended dog food brands in the United States. The brand has substantial credibility within the veterinary community. That credibility does not eliminate the 2019 recall from the brand's documented safety record. It remains one of the largest canned food recalls in recent American pet food history. Avoid 3. Victor Pet Food, Mid-America Pet Food. In November 2023, Mid-America Pet Food, the manufacturer of Victor Pet Food, Wholesomes, Eagle Mountain and several other brands, initiated a recall after FDA testing identified salmonella contamination at the company's Mount Pleasant, Texas manufacturing facility. The recall expanded multiple times in late 2023 and early 2024 as additional contamination was identified. Hundreds of confirmed illnesses in dogs were documented. The FDA also documented 7 human salmonella cases linked to handling the contaminated pet food. Victor Pet Food had been positioned within the value tier mass market as a premium alternative used by working dog owners and sporting dog handlers. The 2023 contamination event significantly altered the brand's safety profile and demonstrates that smaller, regionally distributed brands are not immune from manufacturing failures. Avoid 4. Kibbles and Bits / Gravy Train. Kibbles and Bits and Gravy Train are owned by the J.M. Smucker Company. In 2017, both brands were the subject of class action litigation alleging trace pentobarbital contamination, a euthanasia drug, in test samples from independent testing laboratories. The case settled without admission of liability. The litigation never resulted in regulatory action. However, the source of pentobarbital in pet food when it occurs is rendered meat from animals euthanized prior to entering the rendering supply chain. The settlement did not resolve the question of how trace pentobarbital reached the test samples. Beyond the 2017 litigation, the ingredient profiles on both brands include heavy reliance on rendered meat and bone meal from unspecified mammalian sources, the ingredient category most associated with rendering supply chain quality control failures. If this is the first time anyone has walked you through the documented FDA recall history of these brands, subscribe. No brand sponsorships, no affiliate codes, just what the public record shows. Avoid 5. Beneful, Purina. Beneful is a Purina brand owned by Nestlé. In 2015 and 2016, the brand was the subject of class action litigation alleging that the propylene glycol in Beneful formulations caused illness in dogs. The lawsuits were ultimately settled without admission of liability. Propylene glycol is FDA approved as a food additive in pet food. The settlement did not establish causation. The volume of complaints, however, was sufficient to result in multi-million-dollar litigation settled by one of the largest pet food companies in the world. The Beneful ingredient profile, ground yellow corn as the first ingredient, chicken byproduct meal as the second, multiple grain fillers, and artificial colors, was previously documented. The 2015 to 2016 litigation adds a documented safety concern to an already documented ingredient quality concern. The combination is the reason this brand appears on the avoid list. Safe one. The Honest Kitchen. The Honest Kitchen was founded in 2002 in San Diego, California. The company manufactures dehydrated dog food in a human-grade food production facility, meaning the same FDA standards that apply to food for human consumption apply to the Honest Kitchen's manufacturing. This is structurally different from mass-market pet food manufacturing, which operates under the lower AAFCO standards. The Honest Kitchen is one of only a small number of pet food brands operating under full human-grade production standards. The brand has never had a major FDA recall. The ingredient sourcing is documented and traceable. The dehydration process, rather than high-temperature extrusion, preserves nutritional content without the bacterial contamination risk profile of conventional kibble manufacturing. The Honest Kitchen retails at $35 to $65 per 4-pound box, which rehydrates to roughly 16 pounds of food. The pricing reflects the manufacturing standard and the ingredient quality. Safe 2. Ziwi Peak. Ziwi Peak is a New Zealand brand that manufactures air-dried dog food from single source named meats, lamb, beef, mackerel, venison, with traceable sourcing from New Zealand farms operating under documented welfare and sustainability standards. The air drying process preserves the raw, nutritional profile without the high temperature extrusion used in conventional kibble. The process also eliminates several bacterial contamination vectors that exist in moist or extruded foods. Ziwi Peak has a clean FDA recall record. The single-source manufacturing means that contamination risk, if it occurred, would be contained to a specific traceable lot, not distributed across multiple co-packed brands as occurred with the Mid-America pet food incident. Ziwi Peak retails at $55 to $90 per 5.5 pound bag. The pricing reflects the manufacturing process and the New Zealand sourcing. Safe3, Open Farm. Open Farm was founded in 2014 in Toronto and manufactures in Kansas in the United States. The brand operates a documented traceability program. Every ingredient in every bag can be looked up by batch number on the company's website, identifying the farm, the supplier, and the sourcing standard. The traceability is the structural innovation. Most pet food brands cannot identify the specific farm that supplied the meat in a specific bag. Open Farm can. Every batch number maps to documented sources. The brand uses certified humane meat sources and OceanWise sustainable seafood. Open Farm has a clean FDA recall record. The brand is one of a small number of pet food companies operating under full ingredient traceability. Open Farm retails at $50 to $80 per 11 to 22 pound bag. The pricing reflects the sourcing standards and the traceability program. 8 brands, 2 operating logics. Sport Mix killed more than 70 dogs in the 2020 to 2021 aflatoxin contamination, the most severe documented mass mortality event in recent American pet food history. Hill's Science Diet recalled 33 SKUs in 2019 after vitamin D toxicity caused confirmed dog deaths and resulted in settled litigation. Victor Pet Food recalled multiple brands in 2023 to 2024 after salmonella contamination at the Texas manufacturing facility caused hundreds of confirmed illnesses and 7 human cases. Kibbles and Bits and Gravy Train settled the 2017 pentobarbital litigation without admission of liability, with rendered meat sourcing as the unresolved underlying question. Beneful settled the 2015 to 2016 propylene glycol litigation, adding a documented safety concern to a documented ingredient quality concern. The 3 safe brands share one structural characteristic. The Honest Kitchen manufactures under human-grade FDA standards. Ziwi Peak air dries single-source named meats from traceable New Zealand farms. Open Farm operates batch-by-batch ingredient traceability that no mass-market brand offers.